Alright guys, we just got some brand new hotfixes. When are they going to be live? They're going to be live the maintenance of the 25th. I've heard some of these from my chat. I'm a little disappointed in some of which I've heard, but we will go ahead and look at them ourselves. So, Restoration Druid hotfixes. Rejuvenation, mana cost nerfed, or excuse me, buffed a tiny bit. Efflorescence, base mana cost buffed a tiny bit. Tranquility direct healing increased by 11%. These changes should improve Restoration Druid rate healing output without much impact on their already strong capabilities in dungeons and arenas. I kind of agree with that. I think that this rejuvenation change is kind of irrelevant. You don't really spam like the whole duration of tranquility in PvP, so I don't really think Restoration Druids are getting that much of a change. I would say that these are basically irrelevant for the most part. I think one of Restoration Druid's win conditions is, or excuse me, lose conditions is zooming. So, you know, in the grand scheme of things, it might matter a tiny bit. I'm not too worried about it. Marksmen Hunter, all abilities increased by 5%. I don't think the problem with Marksmen Hunter right now is its damage. Frost Mage, all abilities increased by 5%. You hate when you see mages get buffed and rogues and all that stuff, but I don't think this will have too much of an impact. Enhancement Shaman, all damage abilities increased by 3%. Now that is just straight up toxic, man. When's the last time you guys fight against an Enhancement Shaman? You know, all these classes get 5%, 5%, 5%. Then you see Enhancement Shaman just get a random 3%. Well, guess what, guys? If you're not playing Enhancement Shaman now, you're not going to be playing it after the patch, because that is not nearly enough to help it. Damage of all abilities increased by 5% for Demonology Warlock. Still useless in PvP. Tank specialization players' characters now take an additional 50%. Oh, it was already at 40%. Okay. That seems pretty irrelevant. A Guardian Druid with 1 million HP is still not going to die to anyone if they take a little bit more damage. So, that shouldn't matter at all, in my opinion. Still, no one's going to attack a Guardian Druid. Maybe Wizards can kill him or something. Deathstrike now heals for 20% of damage taken when engaged in combat with players was 40%. Deathstrike now heals for a minimum of 5% of maximum health instead of 10%. So this is a really, really, really big nerf to Deathstrike. Was Deathstrike really good? Yeah, Deathstrike was really good, I'm not going to lie. And it got more powerful the more damage you took. You know, so if you're getting hit for a Chaos Bolt for 160k, you know, you're going to do a lot of healing. Generally speaking, as games go on, Death Knights become better and better targets because their only defense is their healing. If their healing is nerfed, which obviously it is nerfed by half now, they are going to struggle very, very badly in dampening. Pre-dampening, I think they're going to be okay. I think they'll be okay. I could be wrong about that. I'm going to say I think. But in, you know, 10, 20% dampening, they might literally just get destroyed. Absolutely destroyed. Rogue Mage training a Death Knight. Warriors, you know, obviously Warriors can get cut by chains, but Warriors actually pump Death Knights if they're getting attacked. This is really scary. Honestly, this is really scary. Actually, I would like to maybe even go over some games. I don't think I have them anymore. Damn. I basically, when I fight against, like, Destro Warlocks out-heal my Death Knights. You know what I mean? Just from Soul Leech and Mastery, Destro Warlocks out-heal my DKs. I've had, you know, games last night where Frost Mages were out-healing my Death Knight. So, was Deathstrike good? Yeah. But I'm a little worried that if you are playing a comp that gets the dampening, or you get dampened, which seems to have been the meta for quite some time, Death Knights might be useless. But we'll have to see. Death Knights, right now, they have a lot of defensive talents that they choose not to run. They might have to run them now. So, yeah. Ice Barrier now absorbs 40% less damage while engaged in PvP combat. Blazing Barrier, 40% less damage. And Prismatic Barrier, 40% less damage. Out of all the changes I've seen so far, this is one I like the most. I think mages are incredibly tanky. So, mages, I don't want to say maybe they'll die now, because mages are one of the best classes that work with Conflict Major. So if I go over this for you. So basically, if a mage plays Conflict Major, which maybe it's a big deal now. They can't play, like, you know, the Flame or the Reaping Flames or whatever. But if they play Conflict Major, they're the class that benefits the most out of it. Because every single time they interrupt, dispel, or apply a loss of control effect, which is every Nova, every Poly, every Counterspell, every Spell Steal, they get stacks of Conflict and Strife, and then they get to double them, you know? So, That's one of the reasons why mages are so tanky. So they still have an extra ton of verse. They're still going to be very tanky. This is a really good change, though. I'm very happy to see that. Demon armor now increases stamina by 5%. Demon armor now increases armor by 90%. This seems like a very lazy change from my point of view. If you want my honest opinion, I think that this won't matter at all for the most part. I think armor is one of the worst defensive attributes that's in the game. It's just, most of the time when you're playing a class, you don't really feel like, oh wow, that guy's so tanky, he has a lot of armor, in my opinion. Like, you can, if you're a warrior and you're attacking a paladin, sure, as opposed to a mage, like, you can feel it a little bit, but basically Soul Leech and Mastery is the real problem with Destro Warlocks. And they didn't touch those at all, which is a huge problem. So I think not only this is a relevant change, but it also nerfs Affliction. Chat, raise your hand if you have fought an Affliction Warlock since the start of the expansion. No one's gonna raise their hand. So this is by far the laziest change ever, in my opinion. It nerfs a spec that is literally irrelevant. Armor's huge for Windwalkers and Warriors. Windwalkers actually use Tiger Eye Brew, but maybe they won't use it anymore. I still don't think this is the right change. I think this is the wrong change, and I think it's a lazy change. Maybe it'll be a small difference. I'm not convinced of it, but we'll have to see. So what I'm worried about is the unholy. Is this a good change? Maybe a little bit overdone. Maybe a little bit overdone. 50% healing nerf is a big freaking nerf. Was Death Strike too strong? Sure. 50% too strong? I'm not sure about that. I play with a Death Knight. You guys can leave that up to you. Because I'm biased. Things that are bad changes. Windwalkers getting a 5% buff. Stupid. Makes no sense. Windwalkers are, in my opinion, second best melee right under Rogues. In my opinion. I think Rogues are going to run rampant. I think Rogue Mage is going to be really good now. Especially since I feel like Rogue Mage struggled into Death Knight teams. Perhaps. I feel like now they're just going to be absolutely obliterate Death Knights. What else do we think here? I think DH Warriors. DHs were untouched. I don't think DHs are like incredibly powerful. They're not bad. I don't know if I want to say they're tier 1. But, you know, you guys can call me biased, whatever. I play with a Demon Hunter. But I do think Demon Hunters were justified nerfs here. Mainly because we see stealth healing nerf here. We see stealth healing nerfs here. I think Demon Hunters have very strong self-healing. So it kind of falls into the, you know, the rhythm of that self-healing nerfs, which would have made sense. I feel like no one wants Mana Burn to exist. Even the players that play Mana Burn. I play Mana Burn with my teammates all the time. Bad for the game. You know it's bad for the game because Blizzard said, hey, we're going to remove it from Priests. We're going to remove it from Warlocks. You know? But whatever. So I think Demon Hunters could have been justified some nerfs. Especially to that self-healing. And what else do I think? I think Rogue's damage should have gotten nerfed or control should have gotten nerfed. You guys can hate me for saying it, but Kidney Shot is a problem. There's no reason you should just be pressing a cooldown on 20 seconds and just getting immense pressure with it and just winning the game every 20 seconds. Like, you guys think Mana Burn's bad? Kidney Shot's Mana Burn. Because your healer literally has to pour healing into that guy every single time. Also, 30% MS on multiple targets. It drives me actually insane. When a rogue just is like, hey, let's just fan and knives 3 people. Now you're all MS'd and you're all bleeding and... whatever. What else did Blizzard miss here? I would say Dispriests and Resto Shamans were probably... definitely looking to get some sort of buffs. Because I feel like those two classes literally rely on Vitality Conduit to be their healing. If you don't have Vitality Conduit on those classes, you're not going to do well. And even then, I still don't think you're going to do very good. But yeah. They did say series of hotfixes. Working on a series of hotfixes. Oh, okay, maybe there's going to be more. Well, I think that's all I really have to say about this. I don't really think the meta is going to change too much, besides the fact that, generally speaking, Death Knights are going to be way squishier. And Mages should be reasonably squishier. And my opinion on Affliction Warlocks is I don't think it's going to change much. Maybe they'll get trucked by, like, DH Warrior. Maybe they'll get trucked by Windwalker DK. You know? I'm not really sure. We'll have to wait and see. But generally speaking, especially with the Windwalker buff, yeah. Maybe Windwalkers will just destroy Warlocks now. Generally speaking, I don't think too much is going to change. I think the biggest change here is the healing reduction from Frost and Unholy, and the barrier reduction for Mage. So there's a lot of classes that were left unbuffed. There's a lot of classes that were left, maybe not even that many classes that were left unnerfed, but I think we'd rather see some of those classes get buffed. Although I do think Windwalkers and Rogues are probably over the top right now. No changes to Corruption, which I'm not too surprised about. And yeah. So that's about it. Kind of curious what you guys have to say. Okay, so the changes that we originally went over, some of the questionable ones, I think, was that Deathstrike was getting a 50% nerf. Now it seems to be a 25% nerf, which is reasonable. And Windwalkers are not going to be buffed in PvP situations, which I think is pretty fair. So, pretty happy with the changes then. I think that's completely fine.